So when you start seeking, when someone starts seeking, they usually are seeking with the mind, which means the primary tool that is utilized for investigation is thought. And that thought directs the senses and directs the search and directs the inquiry and the investigation and dictates and informs what practices you do, what teachers you might see or read, etc., etc. It's primarily led by thought in the mind. So the conceptual teachings, which is essentially the words that are spoken and heard or written and read, the conceptual teachings interact with the mind in often quite deep and profound ways to uncondition the beliefs, the deeply held beliefs in the mind, in the psyche, and in the body too, to an extent, that the conceptual teachings can decondition and untangle fiction from reality and remove the illusions. There can come a point when the seeker realizes that mind is not going to find this. And then the teachings work in a different way. They're not really teachings now. The teachings really then are about opening it up to that silence beyond the words. And silence doesn't mean a lack of sound, which is the ordinary meaning of the word silence. The silence I'm speaking of is the lack of belief in separation. When the belief, I'm the body-mind, is no longer present or active, that is what I'm talking about when I say silence. That's the deeper form of silence. So it starts off verbally, and then it goes to a deeper place. And that deeper place is the teacher teaching through silence. And that teacher is none other than yourself. Initially, the teaching feels like it's external, that you're seeing a teacher and they've got it and you haven't. And you want to be like them, perhaps. And later, it's an unfolding and a falling into the heart. The heart's just a word used to describe that which cannot be described and that which you are. And there can often be a back and forth. So you'll go into the silence and then the mind will come back again. And then that's where the conceptual teachings are there for you. The verbal teachings are there for you. And the mind comes back and the seeking is occurring on the level of the mind. And then the mind, hopefully at some point, will start to stop. Once it realizes it can't find what it's looking for. That what it's looking for is not to be found in objects of the body, mind, and world. It's not to be found in phenomenal appearances within our consciousness. It's not to be found through changing things and moving things around in our lives. What we're ultimately looking for, I'm talking about. Coming home to who we are. This is not to be found anywhere because it's what we already are. It already is. So it doesn't actually need to be found. So we end up with a few paradoxes or seeming paradoxes, which is that teachings can be very helpful. That's the first thing. Teachers can be very helpful. The second thing is teachers can be very helpful. And a direct interaction with a teacher, either through questions and answers and through just being in the presence of a teacher, can be very, very helpful. And then we've got the other thing, which is that you don't need a teaching. You never needed a teaching. Teaching is just for the ego mind. What you really are doesn't need a teaching. Doesn't need a teacher. And then at the same time, the true teacher is yourself. The essence of what you are. On one hand, you can say the true teacher is yourself. And then on the other hand, there is no teacher. There is no teacher. So all of these statements are true in a way.